I've said on the show and told stories about the roommate that I had my freshman year in college where he slept with a knife under his pillow, 12-inch, 10-inch, like hunting knife under his pillow, which,
kind of aggressive.
Yeah, kind of back then I was just like, all right, well, he's just kind of goofy, Kind of looked like Mr. Clean, one of those dudes. And,
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until I gave him some chocolate flavored Yoo-Hoo, the chocolate drink Yoo-Hoo, that I had brought home from work and decided not to actually drink or open. So I just gave it to him. That was almost like giving him a Christmas present because in his eyes, there was no drink greater.
Right. And that was quite the bonding moment for you guys.
Yeah, that was kind of a bonding moment. That was he still slept with the knife under his pillow because according to him, you never know. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So anyways, I was on Reddit yesterday and someone asked the internet for people's most interesting roommate stories. And I felt like I could probably respond with Jeff, as his name is, but some of the best responses coming up here next. And if you've got any wild roommate story to add to it, we'd love to hear that as well. So they knew who they were getting when it came to roommates. However, it doesn't necessarily have to be college for you to experience an interesting roommate. There's Craigslist. There's just, finding someone who just needs a place to stay. I mean, I had another roommate in college who I never saw. He was kind of our basement dweller.
As long as he helps pay the bills.
He paid rent every month. He paid his share, but we barely ever saw him. We'd see him come up out of the basement and leave and then go back in and go back down the basement. And it wasn't until he moved out that we actually, I don't even know if I ever went down the basement to see his dwelling.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right. I know.
Well, so, one of the common things is they would put pieces of paper with the little numbers that you can tear off at the bottom, like in common areas on college campuses. And that's kind of how I found one of my roommate situations. I had two other roommates. One of them was kind of she worked overnight at a gas station. So we never saw her. She slept during the day, and it was kind of like a weird situation like that. The other one had had this boyfriend. They're the ones that met my parents in their underwear. That was fun. Yeah.
So, some of the best roommate stories. One guy had a male roommate who rarely did laundry, would quote, borrow his underwear, usually for dates. He would tell him that was not cool, but the guy kept doing it anyway.
You were kidding! Guys stealing and using underwear?
We've had listeners like that on the air with us before.
That's insane. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Another person taught their female roommate how to boil water.
Well, if they didn't know, how else are they going to learn?
That's right. Said she hadn't made anything before. I like nothing outside of sandwiches and salads. So
now listen, you know what? My parents gave me a crash course in basic cooking. I mean, every parent needs to make sure that your child can make basic food items for themselves. Otherwise, they will not survive in today's world.
You mean how to boil water?
Yeah, maybe.
One person had a roommate that would sleepwalk almost every night. Wasn't just walking either. The roommate would clean the fridge, put snacks away, quote, Shakespeare, which could either be funny or really creepy.
Oh, while she was sleeping?
Yeah.
So bizarre. Oh, that would creep me out.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't know what's happening. As long as she's not throwing away your snacks.
Right.
If she's a good cleaner when she's asleep, then let her keep doing it.
let her keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
I want to get to this next one coming up here just after 8. It has very, very Godfather-like themes to it.
Oh, wow. It sounds aggressive.
Coming up after 8 here on 99. DJX. You know, if you've spent any time living with roommates, you probably have a few stories to tell. Most interesting roommate stories we were talking about. One person had a roommate who was obsessed with CSI. You know, the CSI show?
Oh, yeah?
Had a CSI pillow, sheets, blankets.
Oh, she had merch and decor. I didn't know that show had that.
Refused to turn on any lights. Kept all the blinds shut. Also was paranoid of having her identity stolen by, quote, them. So
maybe she should have stepped back from that show just a little bit.
There's a point where you need to be like, you know what? Let me just dial it back just a scotch.
Maybe a little.
Yeah. One person had a roommate who would freak out anytime someone used the microwave to the point where he actually stole it from the kitchen.
Listen, that is how I survived. Nay, that's how I continue to survive.
That's Kelly, if we took your microwave away from your kitchen now, what would you do?
We wouldn't eat most of the week.
That's funny. And then this one's pretty good. Someone had a roommate who stole their bread.
Really?
And when questioned about it, suggested it might be a ghost.
I don't know. Have you guys considered that there's an apparition that
she
loves sandwiches?
Yeah, she even drew it out and said that she felt like some of her stuff was missing too.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. So she's just making her sandwiches in her room. Got it.
Then this one. My roommate in college claimed he was involved with the mafia.
Okay. How so?
He was constantly sweaty.
Uh-huh.
Was very jumpy. Mm-hmm. And always had a lot of cash in his car.
Gotcha.
He never was around on the weekends, and I never saw him drink. Strangest of all is that he never once slept in his room.
Interesting.
He always slept on the couch by the door. And eventually, he told me that it was because if someone ever broke in looking for me, I want them to find me right away so no one else would get hurt.
Wow. He was trying to sacrifice himself. Dang.
Says, I still don't know if he was telling the truth, but nonetheless, I always locked my bedroom door at night.
That's probably smart.
But really, that's a total bro move. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Thank you.
Like,
you probably owe him a thank you.
Right.
Thank you for sleeping on the couch to potentially save our lives if the mafia comes looking for you.
Right. If stuff hits the fan, he's the first one out.
Yep. Dang.
That's wild.
Wow. That's an interesting way to make some side hustle cash.
Oh man! So we're not condoning being in the mafia.
No, we're not. No, we're not. We're just saying that's probably not a great career move.
So, anyways, there some interesting roommate stories there on 99.